So I think a lot of coaches get tempted, especially when they have a lot of numbers at practice, right? They think that if they want to make a more game-like scenario, they'll have two teams. Like let's say you have 18 players at practice, or let's say you even have 22 players at practice. They think, okay, if I got 22 players, and let's say they also have the whole length of the field. Let's say you have a whole field access. It's tempting to want to play 11v11 because you think, okay, I want to have a game like scenario. Why don't I do a game like scrimmage? But where that player coaches don't understand is that if they can shrink the size of the field, right? So let's say they bring the goal in close. So now you have two goals, full size goals, and you shrink the size of the field. So now it's basically the width of the 18. If you split the team up into three, what happens is that you get a lot more interactions. You get a lot more shots on goal. You get have a lot of transitions from offense to defense. And then you want the team sitting out to surround the field as neutral players. And what this does is it really keeps them engaged. And the other thing that it does is it raises practice intensity, right? I talked about this before. It's because if one team goes up, right, they score one goal, and this forces the other team to get off, it really means something psychologically, right? So this team is juiced to come back on. It's like king of the hill. You do not want to leave the field. So this really gets kind of, and then let's say one team starts to knock off all the other teams, then they become the team to beat. So it really it just raises the energy of practice in a way that's hard to describe. Secondly, or maybe could be thirdly, this is an effortless way to run a practice, especially if you practice 2 days back to back. And the reason is because, especially on day two, if you let the team pick their own teams, kids very rapidly start to see who are the strongest players amongst the pack. And you could say that the first 9 players picked, first 9-10 players picked from the team captains, you could argue that that would be a great starting 11, because you could say that those are the strongest players, right? Even if players have favorites on their team, even with favorites, they'll go against. They won't necessarily go against favorites, but they're going to choose players who are more dominant based on their awareness of the other players who are at this practice. And so this is a way that coaches who aren't really, right, who maybe this is maybe your first time running coach of a youth team, this is an effortless way that you could run a practice, run a tryout, and then start to see who the